Hello, great to have, and how are you today? We are going to take a new paragraph by reading comprehension in workbook page 65. So open your workbook and let's start. Today we are going to talk about writers, famous writers. Let's start by the paragraph. While you are trying to write a literary masterpiece like something great, okay? Something amazing. You need to eat and place to live. That's why many famous writers often did other jobs while or before they wrote their first important work. Here there are some interesting examples. Let's start by the famous writer. She is a female writer, J.K. Rowling. J.K. Rowling. Nowadays, J.K. is a multi-millionaire. Wow, she is a multi-millionaire. Thanks for Harry Potter novels. She is the writer. Okay, she wrote Harry Potter novels and film. But life wasn't always easy for a British writer. So Raleigh studied French at university, and in 1991 she left England. She worked as a teacher of English in Portugal. So before he became a writer, she worked as a teacher, okay? French teacher. Sorry, teacher of English in Portugal, and she studied French. Okay, between 1990 and 1994, she wrote the first Harry Potter novel. كتبت رواية هاري بوتر. Harry Potter and a Philosopher's Stones. She wrote two novels. Now was interesting in the book at first. Nobody was interested in the book at first. ما كان حدا مهتم بهاي البوك at the first. But when it finally appeared in the shop, it became a bestseller. Bestseller. The rest, as they say in a history. Okay, وصارت مهمة بالتاريخ. The next one, yes, Langston Hughes. Yes, Langston Hughes was a great African American poet. African American poet is شاعر يا teacher, okay? So before becoming a professional writer, he worked on a ship and traveled to Europe. قبل ما يصير شاعر, so he worked another job. He worked on a ship. When he came become a wrote up when he came back, he wrote poets. But to survive, he also had to work as a writer, a waiter's assistant in a hotel and restaurant in Washington. So after he came back from traveling, he worked a waiter's اشتغل garçon in a hotel and restaurant. Okay, in Washington. One day, Hayes saw a famous poet in the restaurant. شاف famous poet in the restaurant. Hayes gave the poet some of owns the poem. The poet was irritating at first. أعطى القصائد اللي هو كاتبهم يا teacher لهذا الشاعر اللي شافه. And this poet was irritating the same with angry. But then he read the poet and asked the waiter, who wrote this? He asked the waiter assistants. I did, replied the same was answered. Okay, Hayes, the poet helped Hayes to become a famous. عجبه الشاعر القصائد وعمله famous. So the first of his many books is The Weary Blues. عمل books اسمه The Hairy Blues, made him popular with aquatic crickets and general public. So عمل كتاب عمله مشهور ونقد general public crickets زي نقاد يا teacher. Okay. The third writers اللي هو Harper Lee. Harper Lee discovered that she liked writing when she was at university. اكتشفت انه هي بتحب القراءة وهي بالuniversity. But she didn't have time to write to complete the novel because she worked in the ticket office of an important airline. كانت تشتغل بمركز ببيع التذاكر بشركة طيران كبيرة بنيويورك. She worked for 9 years, and 1 year a friend gave her a present, money to live for 1 year without having to work in the office. صديقها أو صديقتها أعطتها مصاري إنها تشتغل لمدة سنة واحدة من دون ما يعني زي كأنه راتب من دون ما تشتغل. أوكي. So during this time هي كملت الرواية تبعتها. Okay, now let's continue. Yes, Harley began to kill Mockingbird. The book won many prizes. كملت الأوفيس تبع النوفل تبعتها, and هاي النوفل teacher won many prizes. Become very successful film and sold more than 30 million copies. صارت هاي الرواية كتير مشهورة وانباع منها أكثر من 30 رواية. And is just as popular today. وهي كتير معروفة. Lee didn't go back to the work in an office, بطلت تشتغل بالoffice, but she didn't like to be famous and didn't write another novel. وبرضه هي ما حبت إنها تكون مشهورة فما كتبت another novel. Now, teacher, we have underlined word in the text. We are going to write the word next to their definition. A company that takes people by plane from one place to another place. هي airline. Sorry. أنا هون كاتبة airland. هي airline. Let's edit it. Here, airline. Yes. Next one. A great work, like masterpiece. Number 3, a book that many people buy, bestseller. People who write and give their opinion about film or books, etc. اللي crickets, نقاد. Angry or unhappy with irritated. Answered with replied, and at the present time, like nowadays. The last question, teacher. Here, read the text again. Write the name of the person or people that information from the text is about. You can write 1, 2, or 3 names. Number 1, they travel to another country before they before they become famous. اللي هي جو رولينج ولانجستون هم اللي سافروا قبل ما يصيروا مشهورين. Number 2, they had a lucky opportunity in USA. كانت عنده فرصة USA اللي هو لانجستون اللي هو لما كان يشتغل بواشنطن وهي saw a famous poet. Number 3, somebody helped them to write or become famous. هي لانجستون. Their first book was popular or helped them to become famous. All of the writer, Rowling, Hayes, and Lee. Number 5, they only wrote one book, Hercule. The last one, there was film or series of film based on their books, Lee and Rowling. And that's fine for today. يعطيكم العافية and thank you for listening.